Hi, folks. Steve Urban here, founder and CEO at recruiting firm Riderflex. If you enjoyed today's guest interview, please give it a like and be sure to subscribe to the Riderflex podcast. And now, a quick word from our sponsor.
Try the #1 marketing platform for small business. Everything you need from design to marketing to CRM. Learn more at marketing360.com. Marketing 360. Fuel your brand.
Oh, man. Manoj, tell me about you personally. I want to know family, mom, dad, siblings, where you grew up. Give us some early life stuff, if you don't mind.
Yeah, happy to share. Classic immigrant story. I was born in a coastal town of Chennai. It's in South India. I spent the first 18 years of my life in Chennai, and later followed my parents, who worked quite hard to move my sister. I have a younger sister, and I out of India to go to school here in the U.S. Partly because they wanted to, give us the best opportunities they possibly could give when it came to education, when it came to employment opportunities, and so standing on those many sacrifices that they have made in the past and continue to make in the future. So that's a little bit about me.
Let me ask real quick now. So high school. So you finished high school in India. Did you learn English growing up? Were you taught English as well? Did you speak?
We did. Yeah, okay. We did. Most of Indian education, at least in the larger cities, it continues to be driven with English as the primary language, and then obviously you'll learn other dialects, whether it's formally through school or you speak other languages at home.
Okay, when your parents said, "Hey, we're going to move to the U.S. so you can go to college there," were you happy about that? Were you thrilled? Were you pissed off because you were getting taken away from your friends? How did it feel?
Absolutely not. I mean, to me, it was something new. To me, it was access to opportunities. And back in 2006, actually, when I started college, I still had friends in India that were going through college back there in India, and a lot of them had aspirations to get an advanced degree, whether it's in India, outside of India, and folks were looking for, where can I best learn, or where can I best showcase skills that I want in order to, give myself access to the most opportunities possible. Okay,
so you were happy about that. And your sister, was she older or younger than you?
Younger sister. She's about 4 years younger to me.
So when they moved, she was still in high school.
She was still in high school, which, is a tricky time to move, man.
Yes. Did she transition as smoothly as you, or a little bumpier for her?
I would assume that it's a little bumpy. I mean, she's been quite the trooper and has never complained. But my gut feel from what I gather, what I've learned over the years is that it's a lot harder. I think the older you are, it's a sweet spot, I would say. When you put yourself in a completely new environment, either you do it very early in your life, where the mind is still very elastic and you can assimilate faster, or you move much later in life where you don't give a shit and you're like, whatever, it's like, I'm going to assimilate the best I can, and here is me. And then there's this in between, which is the messy middle. I'm sure she faced some challenges, but she's done phenomenally well for herself.
What'd your folks do for a living?
Well, I mean, my dad is an engineer by training.
He is. I see. Okay.
Transitioned into the world of sales at some point in his life, and he continues to do that.
Really? What was he selling? Software? What was he selling?
Yeah, selling software, R&D, but enterprise sales. Yeah.
All right. Did he have a job was he retired when he moved over here, or did he land at a job when he came?
No, he was working. Working for a company that had, international operations, and then they tasked him with setting up an office in the U.S. And so, establish a practice in the U.S., which is what catalyzed the move on his end.
I see.
The little that I know about sales and what I enjoy about it has come from watching my father.
So your dad's communication and people skills pretty excellent, huh?
I think everything that I know today, I'd have to credit him with teaching me. So I would say that they're very high.
Very good. So he's still alive, still healthy, still working.
He's still healthy, still working. My sister is an engineer by training also, and she continues to do technical work. My mom has taken on the most difficult task of raising two kids. I was a very tough kid to raise. I was not easy at all.
Were you? Okay. Well, just
So,
hard-headed, kind of rebellious, or what? Talking back? Well, yeah.
kind of rebellious, would never listen, and questioned a lot, caused trouble quite a bit. I remember growing up in India, one of the things that you'd get for being a bad student or you misbehave is you lose your access to sitting at a desk, and the form of punishment is you sit on the floor. And I remember this, Steve, you can't make this up. I spent pretty much the entire year on the floor. I mean, I was incorrigible. They could not figure out a way. So I had to, yeah. So that was me.
Were you now in trouble partying and stuff too? Drugs, alcohol, out late, staying out all night.
It's a very conservative country. I think it's slowly becoming less conservative over the years. But back when I was growing up, there was not even access to drugs or alcohol.
Really.
Most you would do is skip classes.
Okay.
Pass notes in classes, and maybe you do poorly on tests and you fail. But that was about it. That was rebellious, right? Or you grow
then you got to college. You went to school, college in the US, and you're like, holy shit, this is a totally different world.
Yeah, but by then I'd kind of grown up. I'd realized something hit when I moved here, and I quickly realized that I'd have to, to some extent fend for myself. I knew that my parents weren't going to be there to bail me out, and I think it was a flip of a switch, and I matured very quickly. Almost overnight, and I got my shit together, and I didn't do any.
Never was a wild guy.
Nope. I've not all through college. No. I mean, I think I'm exploring a little bit more of the joys that come with freedom now. Much older in life, but for the longest time, put my head down and just grinded, man. 10 years of freedom.
So are you a religious guy? Super conservative? Like I can't have a glass of wine with you, or you're what are?
I wouldn't call myself religious. I'm quite the opposite of it. I think I'm agnostic.
Are you? Okay. All right.
I'm agnostic. Very, very much questioning. So
your parents are okay with that, or are they super religious? What's their stance?
They're religious. I would say that they're religious, but they also don't push that on me necessarily.
Okay.
I love participating in everything cultural. My partner is Jewish, and I participate in everything that's cultural. Food, sign me up. Holidays, sign me up. Now, heck, I'd even go to a temple for the cultural aspect of it. But do I truly believe that someone's out there, waiting to punish me? Or
there's not a higher power that's going to punish you for skipping for passing those notes in class?
No, I don't truly believe that. So I wouldn't say that I'm religious. I'm pretty agnostic.
Okay.
Questioning, I question a lot. I think that quality of mine is.
What's your vice now? How do you relax now? Do you have any kind of vices at all? Cigarettes, cannabis, wine, drinks, alcohol, mushrooms. What are you doing?
I've learned to find joy in traveling, and that's a luxury that I've come to realize. I think being able to go where I want to go when I want to go is a luxury, and so I've taken a lot of comfort in experiences. I've been very fortunate to be able to travel, attend, concerts, festivals, go hiking.
What kind of music you into?
I have started to become quite fond of electronic music over the past 2 years. So I've become a big EDM fan.
Really? Okay. Yeah, all right.
Went through. I injured myself coming out of the pandemic. I foolishly decided to go to the gym and lift heavy weights, because as soon as the gyms opened in New York, I was like, I gotta go and drop these 20 pounds.
Hey, you look like you're in pretty good shape. How are you, tall guy? How tall are you?
About 6'1", so a little over
6'1". Well, you look like you're in good shape. What do you weigh? Like 165, 170, 175?
170.
Okay, yeah, you're in good shape. You're in good shape.
The height of the pandemic, I was 205 pounds.
205. Okay, very
Lots
good.
of baking at home, lots of banana bread, lots of butter. Everyone was a home baker. I was one too. No gym.
Wow, that's okay. Good for you. You've lost a lot of weight since you went back to the gym.
Yeah, I turned vegan, and it's been
What? You're vegan?
Vegan now.
Well, okay, now so
I
when
won't
did
blame you if you choose to wrap this up right now.
So hold on. Now wait a minute. Wait. So, but you weren't vegan before. You became vegan after the pandemic, and you went back to the gym and you started losing weight. That's when you.
No, there are different reasons. I was vegetarian. I've always been vegetarian for a long time.
You've always been vegetarian.
Okay. Yes, for as long as I can remember. I'm sure when I was younger, I ate some stuff. I remember. I still have this like this.
But when you were in high school, you're vegetarian?
Oh, absolutely. I was vegetarian. I was vegetarian.
Were your parents vegetarian?
No, they're not. It's just me. It's just
was your dad like, what are you doing, man? What's going on?
I don't force me. Indian food is pretty forgiving for vegetarians, especially South Indian food.
Well, how'd this happen? How'd that happen? The vegetarian thing. How'd you go there?
And I just think that we moved to a city which is predominant apartment community that was mostly vegetarian. My friends were vegetarian.
I see.
And there's a lot of vegetarian Indian food, and so
I didn't know that. I
never ate it as much, and so I didn't develop a taste for it.
I see.
I stopped eating it. Nothing.
Wow.
So I've thought about it long and hard. Sometimes it's easier to get protein by eating meat.
When did you go vegan?
Vegan was more recent. I just went to my annual physical, and doctor.
How'd you do?
How'd you do? Everything is great, but your cholesterol levels are a little high. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like even at 205, I wasn't, overweight. It's normal. Slightly healthy, but but he was like, you don't have to do anything. You're still young, so I'm not going to prescribe statins or none of that. It's high.
How old are you?
I was 35.
Most guys over 50 years old, when I say most, the majority of men over 50 are on some sort of cholesterol pill.
I'm sure. I'm not surprised at all, given the diet. And so, I said, all right, well, and I did some online research. I was like, let me try this plant-based diet, like cut out milk and cheese and eggs and anything that comes out of a plastic bag, really.
Wow.
Man, one of the things about me is that when I decide to make a change, I'm pretty committed about it. It's just part of my personality. So there's no if, buts, and half-ass measures. I go full in. And it's been quite good. I think my body's reacted to it well. I don't get headaches. I'm a lot. I feel light on my feet. I eat healthy. I eat cleaner, and my cholesterol dropped. It's better than it was ever, actually.
All right. Well, it must be working for you. You look at it, and you said, you went to school in Mass, right? It's somewhere in Mass.
Yeah, Worcester, Massachusetts. It's a small town about 40 miles west of Boston.
Any I don't know if racism is the right word, but any anybody give you the cold shoulder because you were from a new country and you kind of broken English? Did you get any? Did you? Did you? Okay.
Yeah, a lot, and I continue to this
really.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, there's two ways to deal with it. I have come to embrace, I could be wrong about this, that any microaggression or any passing of immediate judgment, to me, I believe comes from a place of
ignorance.
Ignorance comes from a place of fear. And whatever, man, it's okay. Could the world be a place that's different? Yes, but what are you going to do? So as long as it's not overt, and as long as someone's not trying to come there, attack and punch me or cause physical harm.
You've never had any physical, nothing physical.
No, it was never physical. I mean, usually it's the choice of words. I remember, I think when I was in college, a bunch of kids had created this Facebook group entirely dedicated to mocking the way I spoke or the way I dressed or
For you or for kids from India?
No, for me. No, for me, specifically
What?
just for me.
What?
I had come to learn about this, and classic me, I confronted
What?
them. I was like, what is going on? This is
what do you what's going on here, man? What are you doing?
I got scared and they took it down, because that's what happens when you confront people. They get worried. And I've never been afraid of confrontation. I mean, I asked, I said, this is not cool. So yes, it's been a part of, and I think that's the part of any immigrant's identity here. There is a little bit of that, and it's not me, crying. It's not me having a sob story or seeking empathy or validation. It's just harsh reality. And a number of folks would look at me today and assume that I'm an engineer, or assume that I'm a doctor, or I, do something else that they'd expect me to do because of the way I look. It still exists. It's a microaggression. It's okay. Could we get better? Yeah.
A doctor. Hey, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad assumption. Doctor.
It's exactly what I hear people say, but still a stereotype.
Okay, man. So, did you know what you wanted to do early on? Did you have what was the plan? Kind of walk me into, you get out of grad school, walk me into that early career and kind of what your plan was early on. Go for it.
Who knows what they want to do, man? It's always a process of, why do we exist? What's the meaning of life?
What's the meaning of life? Why am I on this blue ball floating around in black space? What is this, man?
And I say that half jokingly, but some of it continues to be true. Listen, let me answer the question in a different way.
Right.
Back then, when I was out of college, when I was early on in my life, I set some bigger goal of, I want to do something on my own. I want to build a business, right? It was all task-based. It was, once I got out of undergrad, it was like, I need to do this industry certification. After that, I need to get a job. After that, I need to go to a good grad school. After that, I need to get a job that pays even more. But I had very task-based goals. It was, after I do X, I need to do Y. After I do Y, I need to do Z. Building the business from the ground up was like the ultimate goal. Like, that was as far as I could see back then.
Okay.
I still remember in undergrad, there's a billboard. There used to be one, and I posed for it as an ad for Worcester State University, and it said, "This grad wants to build his own business someday, be a small business owner," or something to the like. And so that was it. It was as far as I could see back then.
All right.
My goals now have changed. I think they've changed from being task-based to outcome-based, right? What is it that gives me meaning, and what is it that gives me joy? And that could mean a variety of things. You could achieve them through tasks, or you could achieve them through doing nothing, by simply existing. And both of those are equally good choices. And so now I feel like my goal in life is to, leave some legacy, produce a little bit more than I consume, and try to, give back to others that don't have access to the same resources that I've had. Why? I don't know. It's just feels that what brings them joy is sitting at home and playing video games, and mine better than theirs. I truly don't believe so. I think they're all equally good and equally bad. We're all trying to find meaning, and we're all trying to find joy. And I like what
you said. Produce more than you consume. That's a good one. I like that. But now, at what point though did you decide to go to law school? How did that fit in there?
Well, I mean, back then, and so a couple of reasons. One was I went to a small state school. Didn't have great brand recognition, and no matter how well I did, I always had this ceiling where folks wouldn't take me seriously for certain jobs. And so I needed something else that wasn't that, so that I could have a meaningful shot at jobs. And so I knew I needed to go to graduate school, simply to, in hindsight, I don't believe any of that shit matters. Honestly, I could have founded Ramp many, many years ago and been a owner or done something different. But back then, that's what I thought I needed to do. So that was step one. Step two was that I had and I continue to have public service aspirations. I don't know what that looks like.
Oh, really? Okay.
And as an immigrant that didn't have a lot of context about functioning of society, the U.S. government, history, I felt that law school would be a good place for me to go to at least learn about the fundamentals,
Yes.
be exposed to a set of values and ideals that wasn't in, a part of me as I grew up, because I grew up in a different country. And so that was reason two. And reason three was that I was a little bit unfulfilled professionally. I felt like I've done what I could with the degree that I had in the city that I was living, and I needed a new environment where I'd get challenged a little bit more. And so there was this professional dissatisfaction. So I lumped those three together, and I was like, well, should I go to business school, or should I go to law school, or do both? I said, let's just go to law school. I feel like I'll learn something new. Business I can learn by doing the work.
I see. Okay, very good. Very good. So you get out of law school, you go to work for Deloitte, I think, first before you enter your first entrepreneurial thing. But before we go there, I want to jump back here to this public service thing. You still have aspirations for public service, you said? Still?
I still do. There's one recent thing. I decided to serve on the board of this co-op that we live. There's about 1,500.
That's a good place to start. Good place.
1,000 units, and
Good
man,
place
the
to
amount
start.
of scrutiny was just too much. And I'm like, ah, shit! Like, these people, I'm doing this stuff for free. I'm out here busting my ass off after work trying to do all this, and I'm not even getting paid. And then on top of it, I show up at these meetings. You guys are yelling at me, like, dude, this shit. And then I looked at Carl, and she was like, "Are you sure public service is still a goal? Because we can handle this heat. Are you sure you're going to want to do more?" And so I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about, do I really want to do it? The answer is yes. Am I ready for it? I don't think I am. I think that there's a lot more of reflection and learning that I need to do. But I still very much do have the same aspirations that I had many years ago.
Okay, let me ask you, and one more question on this. I know we could do probably a whole entire episode on this particular topic. What are your passions around public service to change or improve? What particular areas are you super passionate about?
Yep.
Talk to me, because I'm sure there are a few things under the umbrella there that you'd really be focused on. What would those be?
Yeah, there are two things that are deeply personal to me.
Okay.
The first one being education, partly
Right.
because that has been what has opened doors for me in ways that nothing else has. It's leveled the playing field for me. It's equipped me to believe that I can be a functioning part of society and dream big. And I think that's a great way to help mobilize and shape,
So
the future.
so improve it, make it free. What would you do with it? What are the big goals there?
Definitely make it accessible. Free, I'm not too sure what that may look like, because there's no such thing as free. Someone's paying for it. How do we make that work? So accessible is a better
Accessible. Okay.
at it. And
All right.
improving it in that, I think, our K through 12 education system is very broken. They're tasked with shaping the minds of the future, and yet they're paid pennies, which is very difficult for them to live and work. So how can you attract and how do you pay teachers fairly, given the tasks that they have? So how do we improve kind of K through 12 education? So those are two areas that I'm pretty passionate. From the education front. The second was mental health.
Mental health, very good.
That's another area that continues to have a lot of stigma surrounding it, associated with it. I think we have so much focus on physical health, which is important, and yet there's been such little progress in studies and conversations to be had around mental health. And
why is that? Why is
there stigma around mental health?
Why isn't there more focus on improving that? Why aren't we more focused? Because, as I'm sure you're about to step into, if you improve mental health, you're improving the homeless situation, right? It's tied together, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
Why isn't there more of a focus on that? I see some of the shit we focus on blows me away, right? I mean, we talk about for months, we talk about Will Smith slapping somebody at the award show. Meanwhile, California's got a major homeless problem. which is what we should be spending time on. What is the deal with that? I don't understand. Why aren't we more focused on mental health? It is a major problem. It's tied deeply into the homeless situation.
Yeah.
Maybe there's just not enough money in it. I don't know. I don't have the answers either, but I do think
also mental health is a spectrum, right? I mean, on the far right, you'll find folks that have significant mental health challenges, and they may need medication, they may need access to a lot of resources. And to the far left, you might have someone that that's coping with anxiety and coping with depression.
Yes.
Clouds their judgment and the choices that they make.
Yes.
I have multiple reasons why we don't talk about mental health. One being, I think there's been a lot of stigma around qualities, especially masculine qualities, where it's perceived as a sign of weakness.
Agreed.
And there is true repercussions today. We talk about this. I talk about this at work myself, and so put yourself in the shoes of, I don't know, some founder, some business leader, and if they're perceived to be struggling with mental health issues.
Oh man, yeah.
The immediate gut reaction is, can I trust this person? And yet the reality is a lot of folks do, man. I mean, it's not, it's no different than having a cold, and sometimes it comes and goes, and it's more acute, but it just has to be, discussion and focus from very beginning when people are kids, teenagers. I feel like there's a lot of things that are just avoided, not talked about. So that's another thing that I'm passionate about. Can make some progress there.
Love it. Okay, I love it, and I do think public service would be good for you. Just listening to your passion, the way you speak, the way you carry it, the way you talk about it. I think someday maybe it's in there for you. Boy, you got to be. It's just talking about take the heat. I mean, that's why nobody gets into it. All these people, all these very smart people with very good ideas that could make a difference. They go down and they join the local city council, and they're like, holy fuck, this is like, I don't want to do this.
I think I'm sure it's a muscle that can be developed. I think maybe my ego is too fragile at this point, but I have faith in myself. I can
very good. Okay. All right. Let's get into, so you get out of law school, what happened? Deloitte recruits you, or what happens there?
Well, so I got out of law school, and I graduated with a bit of a chip on my shoulder.
Okay. All right.
I just wanted to I felt like I had something to prove to somebody.
All right.
TBD as to why I felt that way. And the only way that I could get there was getting the biggest check possible. How do I make the most money possible right out of law school? And two options: either you go work for a big law firm, or you go work for an investment bank, and made a little bit more money working in banking. And man, I don't know, they were great people, really smart, and if I could go back in time, I'd probably do it again, but God, it wasn't for me. It's just not for me at all. I barely lasted there, but that's why I did it. I felt like it was prestigious, something to, some prize that you get for going through 3 years of law school and getting a fancy degree. I was like, where's my price? And I thought that was it. Only to quickly realize there was no price.
And then what happened? You and some buddies had started your first venture. What happened?
So I was pretty sick of the choices that I made, and I felt that I strayed too far away from what I wanted to do, which was build something from the ground up. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm not doing it. And so I went on Angel List and started finding very early stage companies, a founder that I could go tag myself to and learn. And I saw this company called YayPay, and they had a job posting for an executive assistant, which is one step above a personal secretary. And so I applied to the job, and I sent an email to the founder and said, hey man, listen, I see you're hiring an executive assistant. I believe I have the qualifications to do that job. However, I can do other stuff on top, and you just pay me whatever you think you can pay me. Early stage company and raise any money, product is not fully there. So I'm here to learn. My goal is to build a business from the ground up. That's what I want to do. I would like to come and work basically for what you can pay me, and we'll figure stuff out. So I applied for the job. I did some work for him. I sent him a deck to demonstrate my interest and put some fancy slides together. And as this Australian guy, Anthony, I still remember meeting him. One of the things that he said pretty early on is, come work with me. I'll learn what you can. And then when you decide to build something from the ground up yourself as a founder, I will be the first person to write a check, which he did.
Wow. What great story. But now he ended up making you a founder there. As
part of the founding team. I was the first employee there. So I was part of the founding team.
I see.
My current co-founders, I met at YayPay. So Mitch was employee number 2 at YayPay, who had also applied for that job, but ended up getting a sales role out of college. And so it was, we met each other there.
Wow.
And Danny, is third co-founder, was an advisor to our business. We went through one of these accelerator programs in San Francisco, and they assigned Danny, who's my co-founder today, as a mentor to our business. And I knew right away that these were 2 guys that I wanted to do something with at some point. But we work together. We're friends first, and it's nice to be able to work with people that.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Yeah. What an awesome story. Okay. So for the listeners, this is a great tip, great advice for aspiring entrepreneurs. Goes on angel list, finds an early stage company that you're interested in, right? Applies for something that you're overqualified for, just to get the person's attention and get in the door and have a conversation. Told them, like, look, hey, I just want to help. I'll take out the trash. Whatever. Like, I just want to be part of it. You don't even pay me what you can pay me. You get in the door, they end up making you a member of the founding team. You end up meeting good friends now, probably for life, who help you go on to start Ramped. I mean, that is a great story, my friend. Wonderful.
A lot of YayPay's investors are investors in this business.
That is so great.
Why not?
That is so great. I want to. Okay, now
it doesn't have to be linear.
Yeah, so good. So what happens? You and Danny and Mitch, what do you guys out? You're having coffee and you're like, hey, how does Ramp?
We wanted to do something. We wanted to do something. To build from the ground up, and so the classic. Let's like throw some ideas around and then pick something to work on. There's lots of things we could do, right? And so we tried to narrow it down. And again, instead of focusing on tasks, we looked around and said, let's focus on outcomes. What is it that we want? What's the framework? 3 things. We wanted to work on something that would make us feel like we're making an impact on the world, right? We needed that as an absolutely necessary quality, no matter what business we started. So that was the first one. The second thing is we wanted that to scale. We didn't want to build something that only touched the lives of 1,000, right? We wanted this to be something large scale that could leave a big impact on many people, right? And so that was the second consideration. The last one was we wanted to do it with people that we liked and enjoyed spending time with, right? And so those are the 3 boxes, right? So we then said, okay, what can we do? We can build a business around education. We can add a layer of technology in order to scale the level of impact, and we get to choose to work with the 3 of us and carefully curate others that we bring into the business. And awesome. That was how Ramp started, and here we are.
Very good. Rampedcareers.com for the listeners, just so everybody knows, rampedcareers.com. Give us the 3-minute or whatever, just give us the elevator pitch of Ramped as it is today. Go for it.
Yeah, Ramp is a skills-based hiring platform. If you're a job seeker and you're early in your career and you don't know what you want to do professionally and you want to find a job easier and faster, Ramp is a place for you to come, learn the skills you need in order to be successful at a job, and find a great job very quickly. So that's Ramped for you in a nutshell.
When you say learn skills you need, what do you mean? Do you mean trade skills? Do you mean communication skills, planning? What do you mean?
Both. So a lot of Ramp is the trade skills. It's the functional skills that you are expected to know in order to succeed at the job.
You mean like being an electrician, or what do you mean?
No. So we focus on not those types of trades, but we focus on call these white collar early career roles in sales, customer service, operations, compliance, recruiting. Those types of roles is what we focus on, right? So let's say you want to pursue a career in sales. Okay, what are the 5 things you're expected to know as an entry-level sales rep? You need to know how to cold call. You need to know how to correspond with people via cold email. You need to know how to handle basic objections, because that's what you're going to get all the time. You need to know how to use some of the modern, tech sales stacks.
So sales, what'd you say? What else? Sales.
The pathways that we have live today are sales, talent acquisition, and we're building our next career paths. But our goal is to open up about 50 of these.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So you teach people how to be a recruiter, or how to open a recruiting firm on their own, or both.
No, just be a recruiter, because these are early career professionals, right? And so
all right.
The sweet spot for Ramp is if you are, early on in your career, you're a career switcher. Those are the roles. The reason why we don't focus on very senior roles is it's because it's very difficult to teach those skills through a digital first platform. I can't teach you how to be a successful entrepreneur digitally. That's something that comes with years of experience and time. However, I can teach you how to be, a entry-level early career recruiter at a recruiting shop. Recruiting coordinator, I can teach you how to do that job really well. And as a matter of fact, we do.
You know what's great about the recruiter training is if you when you become big enough and well known enough, which I'm sure you're on your way to, wouldn't it be awesome if guys like me who own a recruiting firm, if I could pluck trained recruiters, all right, from Ramp that I know have your stamp of approval or certification or whatever badge, and I know that they went through your training, and that was actually something that was recognized on their resume and on their LinkedIn profile, like, hey, Ramp approved or whatever. Wouldn't that be nice to have some sort of, some sort of way to recognize them? Because, as you know, today, anybody can put recruiter on their LinkedIn profile. And you could be, I don't know, a busboy one day busting dishes, and the next day you can put executive recruiter on your LinkedIn profile. Absolutely. With no, which is crazy. I see people do that all the time. So wouldn't it be great if you could really build a program that trained them and tagged them in a special way? I'm sure you've thought about that.
It's your lucky day, Steve, because we could do that today. And we could work. You could start looking at people as early as tomorrow.
That is absolutely wonderful. How do you get paid, my friend? What's the business model?
So we monetize on the employers. We pay an access fee. You'd spend money on any talent acquisition platform. So you pay an access fee, and you could pay it for 6 months. You could pay it for a year. But it's simple. It's affordable.
So it's access to your candidates is a monthly fee. Is that the deal?
Yeah. So there's two products that we have. One of them is access. You can pay access to access our candidates, or you can also pay. You could also pay us for our product and put it in front of your own candidates, right? And so let's say that folks are applying, and I'm sure you get a lot of applicants. You could say, hey, listen, here's access to a platform. You can go demonstrate your skills, and I'm going to hire out of that, right? And so the second product that we have.
Okay, and the candidates do not pay you, so you don't take money from candidates.
No, we don't.
No. Okay, and is it month to month? Do guys like me have to sign a 6-month contract? What's the service level agreement, or whatever you call it, contract?
3 months at the very minimum, because it does take about 3 months for you to go through the platform, have conversations with someone. So 3 months is the base fee, and it's very affordable from our perspective. Like roles in sales, roles in talent acquisition, recruiting are so critical to top line growth for your business. These are revenue generating roles, and so the way we look at it is, hey, listen, your complete time, attention, and focus should be on getting the best possible person for this role, because as you know, attrition is quite horrible for roles in sales and talent acquisition. And you can see a 15, 20, 30, 40% improvement in the quality of your pipeline, and these folks deliver better results. Ramp pays for itself in a week.
Gotcha. Do you charge differently if I pluck one person versus 10, or how does that work?
We do. So it's based on the volume of hiring, right? And so if your need is, we have employers that hire 3,000 early career professionals right through Ramp, and pricing is different. If you're an enterprise, if you're a smaller company and your needs are limited, then we price accordingly.
Who's your target customer? SMB, Fortune 500? Who are you targeting? What companies are you targeting?
A recruiter that works for a small executive recruiting shop or a small tech recruiting shop, their job is no different than being an entry-level recruiter at Amazon. The actual tasks required are the same. You have to go find candidates on using LinkedIn Recruiter. You got to build your pipeline. You got to nurture them. You can gather requirements from the hiring manager. So the job is the same. And so the only thing that we look for is, are you a business that's looking for this particular type of hire? And are you in market for that hire now, right? Not someone that's passively looking, passively browsing. There's no value in the RAM platform. So, obviously, what bigger companies have a larger hiring need. And so there's, slightly larger checks there. But at the end of the day, the need's a need, right? I mean, you could be a CEO at Salesforce and you still need lunch.
It sounds like you and your co-founders did a little bootstrapping, but it sounds like you took some early angel money there from some of the folk. I don't know how much you want to share, but for the aspiring entrepreneurs that, want to get started, can you just chat a little bit about when did you take angel? Did you take seed? Did you bootstrap? Are you in a current raise? Give us a little overview if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. We raised a little over 3 million since we launched the business. And,
nice.
And I mean, listen, you don't need to raise money. There's many ways of building a business. And to us, raising equity was just a lever, right? That will help us grow. You could do the same by taking a loan from a bank if possible. You can do the same by bootstrapping if possible. We needed to build a tech product that required engineering resources, that required marketing dollars, and we have very grand plans about what RAM can be, right? And so if you want to build a platform that is going to be used by millions of people, then you have to spend a bit of time, effort, and money on R&D infrastructure. And so that's the route that we had to take. So if you're an entrepreneur and you believe that the market you're going after, or the product that you need to build requires upfront investment of cash and capital that you simply can't get through any other source, then absolutely, maybe going the venture route is for you. But understand that with that also comes a bit of downside, right? You're giving away a piece of your business very early. And there's a price to pay, but you're hoping that over time there's enough scale to what you're doing. Or you could be an entrepreneur and bootstrap a business from the ground up and do a phenomenal job, and that's okay as well, right? If you're trying to build a services business today, do you really need venture capital? I don't think so. You don't have to. You can just bust your ass off, which we did early on. We bootstrapped it for about 7-8 months. I was without a salary for a whole year myself, and we figured out whether there was something there before we asked money. Right. One of the things that we want to do is be prudent with capital that we have and treat it as a responsibility, not just blow other people's money. Right. That's not what we're in the business of. So that's kind of been our story. It's been good. Very fortunate to have access to it. We could hire some folks that are smarter than us to help us figure this stuff out.
All right. And you said VC a couple of times, but you haven't taken VC money. You've just taken angel money or seed money.
No, we've taken VC money.
Gotcha. Are you and your buddies, do you still have control of the units or the voting, or now that you're officially not in control of the cap table anymore? Can you share that?
We're in control of the cap table. We're early enough still.
Okay. All right.
I mean, listen, a good VC believes in founders and gives them a lot of autonomy to build the business and run it as they see fit, right? That's the hallmark of a good investor. We've been incredibly fortunate to have really, really thoughtful and nice and helpful investors. So we hope that as we continue to raise capital, if and when the need arises, that we surround ourselves with more people like our current investors.
Very good, my friend. Congratulations on raising $3 million. Just a couple more questions here. How big is the company today? If you don't want to share revenue, can you share a number of employees maybe?
Yeah, we've got about 12 people today, and we're every day is testing, experimenting, growing, and learning something new.
Burning cash or profitable month to month, or are you still scaling and burning?
I'd say we're in the scaling and burning stage right now, and again, a lot of spend is so that we can have a product and
I get it. You're a SaaS product. You're a SaaS product. I totally I get it. Okay, switching gears, I want to switch over here to some outside the lines. Couple of questions here. We got just a few minutes. CEO, I noticed in the news of the last few days. When I say news, I guess LinkedIn, because as a recruiting firm, as a recruiter, as an executive recruiter, and a guy who owns a recruiting firm, I have to live on LinkedIn, right? like it or not. By the way, can you be a competitor to LinkedIn so they can get some competition? Jesus, man, they control the market. I mean, somebody's got to do something.
We would love to.
Man,
We're ways out, but we do have our eye on offering something.
Somebody needs to do something. They just have too much control. But anyway, what was my point? Oh, on LinkedIn, because of this new Roe versus Wade thing that happened with the Supreme Court, I see a lot of companies and CEOs taking this topic like they have done many other hot topics over the last 3 years. It seems like every time there's a new hot button, some companies or CEOs decide to pick a side. We're going to pick purple or we're going to pick yellow. Okay. And then we're going to fight about it and we're going to scream at the other side. That happens a lot over the last couple of years. And now we have a new hot topic that's all over. And I see companies taking sides and speaking out. My question for you is, without necessarily pressuring you into answering what your side is, my real question is, what do you think about companies doing that? What do you think about companies taking a side on a hot topic, or a CEO putting out a statement on a hot topic like that? What are your thoughts there?
I mean, listen, my belief has and continues to remain that companies are nothing but a collection of people. And that is what a company is. It's an artificial entity, but in reality, it is a group of people. And people have values, people have emotions, people want to make choices one way or another. And so the notion that just because it's a company, you can somehow alienate yourself, remove yourself from most human constructs is just untrue. So that's my baseline view on it. Now, the second thing is, as a leader of a business, should you take a position on something that you believe is meaningful and representative of the group of individuals that you're a part of? Yes, I think so. Because at the end of the day, it is a group of people, and these decisions impact set group of folks, right? And so I do think that there is certainly a space for CEOs to speak out and have an opinion one way or another. I believe it needs to be thoughtful. One of the things that we are doing internally ourselves is to put some thought to it. It's very easy to just make a statement and not act on it. Anyone can do that. But I do think it's important to put some thought into it and take a poll, see how your unit or the group of people that you're working with today feel, what's important to them, and then make a leadership decision that is in line with it. My personal view, I mean, I'm happy to share my personal view. I've always been pretty vocal about it. I do believe that the decision is an infringement on reproductive rights. That is my personal view, right? And many ways that you can argue whether it's right or wrong, but at the end of the day, it's a viewpoint of mine, and it's something that I truly believe in. But as a leader, you just have to look around and take a pulse and figure out what does your unit want and how does your unit feel.
Good point. I think the biggest struggle that CEOs have is, I mean, hey, if you have 100 employees, you can almost bet that any hot topic that comes up, it's
Sure.
probably 50-50. I mean, probably 50 people will want purple, 50 people want yellow. And so then the CEOs of course struggle, because if they pick a side, then they're pissing off half of their employees. So it's a tough one,
But if you don't pick a side, you are picking a side by not picking a side. When you really think about it and put down, ask yourself.
Yeah.
Ones that are quiet about this whole situation, you kind of know what their position. It's true. I mean, whether you like it or not, that silence is picking a side, and that is.
But isn't that making some assumptions though? Just
it is.
Quiet.
The assumption is you don't care about the issue at all.
So don't care. I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, silence is the equivalent of me being agnostic. It's the same thing, right? It's like,
Gotcha.
So that's what it is.
Gotcha. Last question. I know we're out of time. Thank you very much for By the way, great stuff. Great stuff, Manoj. Really great stuff. Last question. If you had to put your core purpose in life into a sentence right now, what would that sound like?
Yeah, I told you, produce more than I can consume.
Oh, you
That's
know,
all I
that's
wanna do.
that's a good one. I'm stealing that, man. I'm stealing that.
Wake up and you go to bed, ask yourself, what did I do? Was I a parasite or did I give more? And then the
Oh,
answer to that puts me to bed.
I love it, my friend. That is so good right there. All right, my friend. Thank you very much for being on the Riderflex podcast and sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Sounds good, Steve. So nice talking to you.